right, take two. Hi, this is our first video for the off season for the Fed League Flash, and yeah, I'm recording this on Sunday. I needed something to do today, so hockey related. Going to be airing this on Tuesday, so as promised. But I wanted to get this recorded, get my thoughts all together. So a lot has happened in the last 3-4 weeks in the FPHL. So I wanted to kind of highlight some of the things that went down, where we are now, and where do we go from here. So, yeah, a lot of information on this board. All right, so let's start off with the not so good stuff. All right, season ended on the 12th of April. It was supposed to be the 13th, but the league canceled the last game between the Watertown Wolves and the HC Venom. I won't get into all that. No bueno. All right, but anyway, so we had an extra day for the in between the end of the season and the beginning of the playoffs, which was Tuesday, which that day it was announced the Dashers were done. It was announced by the league and by David S. Palmer Arena. The Dashers were not going to be returning. It was very vaguely worded, but basically, for all intents and purposes, the team was officially done. There were hints about possible relocation, but that was contingent upon a new owner being found within the next couple of weeks. That did not happen. No new owner stepped up, and so yeah, the Dashers are done. They are done. So we're just going to we're going to save this. I'm going to save this magnet for one more video that we'll be doing this summer. All right, so that happened. Then we had on the 16th, the league announces it's moving to Florence, or it's setting up a new team in Florence, South Carolina. Now, on that day, transaction appeared in the transactions list on the Fed webpage, saying Kevin Spott had been traded from Monroe to the HC Venom. Then, when the presser was given, here's our first signing, Kevin Spott. So that pretty much confirmed what had been rumored for a few weeks, that the new team in Florence, the PD team, would be not exactly a relocation of the HC Venom. And let me explain why that is. Why it's, some people are going to say just semantics. Parker Mescal and I had a conversation about this via Messenger, and he said, "Look, when down in Florence, we're going to have a full staff. It's going to be a whole new organization from the front office. So basically, we're borrowing the Venom's roster, but this is a new club." So that's how he explained it to me. There was in Hudson Valley, there was two guys doing all the work. Pretty much one guy, but there was a little bit of help here and there. Okay, there's going to be a staff of 8 to 10 full-time people in the office for PD. So, in that sense, it really is a new club, new organization. Anyway, so the announcement is made on the 16th. Yes, FPHL has a new team in Florence, South Carolina. We're going to have a name of the team contest, et cetera, et cetera. So the last transaction was listed for the Venom on the 5th of May, and that was the release of all players that were suspended for the year for failure to report. That was the last thing that officially we'll see for the Venom. All right. Now, the league's not changing over its website, the details on the website, until sometime in June, so there could still be future transactions involving PD, but it's going to be listed under the Venom for the time being. All right, so I don't want there to be any confusion with that. Oh, is there still a team in Hudson Valley? No. All right, the 28th of April, we had the announcement that the Mississippi Seawolves were having a name the team contest. Wait a minute, didn't we already have a name? Yes, but there are things going on behind the scenes, some legalities and whatnot. And with the new ownership group, Chris Bernarski and his partners, um, I think that the team was kind of keen on getting a new identity because, unfortunately, in the 3 year history of the FPHL's version of the Seawolves, uh, there's been a lot of behind the scenes stuff, a lot of drama, and unfortunately, the Seawolves name has become kind of synonymous with that. And so I think making a name change is good. Changing the imagery, yes, it's an expense with rebranding, but I think it's going to be worth it. I really do. The Name the Team contest ended on Saturday, May 10th. So within the next 2 to 3 weeks, we should have an announcement from Mississippi, now temporarily known as Mississippi Pro Hockey. Um, hey, here's our new team, our new name. But everything's still the same. They're still playing in Biloxi. They're still same arena, for the most part, same roster and whatnot. So there's that. Final change that took place was just this last week. It was announced on Thursday. The Motor City Rockers were filing for dormancy. This was accepted by the league. The filing actually happened a couple weeks prior, after a breakdown in negotiations with Big Boy Arena. Um, Basically, the team lost their lease. There was no sense of agreement in mission statements or purpose or direction between the arena and the club. And the club said, well, we're going to have to file for dormancy. Now, I want to interject my personal take on this, but I want to be very careful how I word this. Okay, um, I'll start with the dramatic and kind of swing back. Okay, um, I have never seen a team file for dormancy, whether it's in the FPHL or any other league, and come back to continue. I haven't seen it. It's a long shot. However, for the Rockers organization, a long shot is better than no shot. Basically, the team said this gives us a fighting chance to continue down the road. So it's going to be a struggle. It's going to be a long uphill battle. The chances of success are not great, but they're better than we're done, we're folding up, we're closing up shop. So I'll give the Rockers organization kudos for that. They're looking to see if they can find a new location. There's a lot of rinks in the greater metro area, but many of them are not suitable for the Fed. A couple of them, there's already a primary tenant there, so you're going to have a hard time with scheduling. So there's a lot of obstacles. But again, at least with a year off, hopefully the Rockers can reorganize. Maybe they're going to have to relocate to a new market. I don't know. That's speculation on my part. I don't know what's going to happen. So Nick Field and Ken Andrews, the owner, and leadership, they're going to try and figure something out. So there's our negative impacts. Our positive impacts. Let's go back in time. Going back this last week, on the 5th of May, 2 pressers given by 2 different teams, announcing their names and colors and all that kind of stuff. As you can see, we have a secondary logo. I'll talk about this in just a second. But with Topeka, they announced, we've got our new head coach, Nichols, formerly of the Elmira Enforcers fame. We have our first signing, which is Justin Schmidt. He's going to be a player / assistant coach. We have our name, our team, our colors, all that kind of stuff. Showed off the uniform. Justin Schmidt wore a nice black uniform, so there we go. There's the completion of that step for the Topeka organization. I'm going to mention this because I know a lot of people are worried to death about this. This is a bus league. How can we have a team in Topeka? It's so far out there. Okay, Topeka bought a sleeper bus, like what the teams in the SPHL have. So it's a lot easier for the players to actually get some rest on their long journeys to the other teams. 11 hours, Monroe, that's the closest one right now. Actually, I think Indiana is a little bit closer. I'm going to have to check that out. But anyway, those are the two closest teams. So, a lot of time on the bus, but with a sleeper bus, players can actually rest. They can lie back. You can't sleep well when you're sitting up. But anyway, yeah, they have a sleeper bus, so that is taken care of. All right, on to PD. Now, this is a secondary logo, and they stressed this. Parker Moscal stressed this. He said, this is just something we have right now as a secondary image, so I'm assuming that that'll probably go on the shoulder. But as you can see, we got the colors. You got the navy and the Carolina blue and the white. Very sharp looking. They said the primary logo is being worked on and developed, and they will reveal it and I'm sure a new jersey probably at the same time. Here's our look. But that was done then. Now, the other thing that Moscal did, and I really like this, on the 8th, he released a video, and he did it in a very fun way. It's like, come with us on a tour of the Florence Center. He and Kevin Zabad walked you through different areas, and he talked about all the infrastructure changes that he's going to make that need to be made. So he's got that set. I thought that was really good to see. You got a plan. We're going to be ready to go for the beginning of the season. Next change we had was Monroe. Well, again, yeah, this was kind of a joke on the Trash Talk page. But yeah, the league jumped the gun, announced, hey, Jeremy Roenick, Hall of Famer Jeremy Roenick is joining the ownership group for Monroe. That's great. Monroe thinking, we were going to make this announcement. We were going to have a press conference announcing this, and you kind of jumped the gun. But yeah, and again, I talked about this on the Flash Audio Network last week. This is, I'm sure that Roenick will be somewhat involved with the Moccasins, but the primary reasons for this is to join Perkin in trying to get a team, an NHL team, to New Orleans, and that's going to be a long process. But yeah, a nice cachet there. All right, so final big piece of news was after this happened, well, the league said we've got to do something. So Wednesday, Don Kernan flew out to Columbus, Indiana, met with the Campbells, the owners, and Ian Rosen's the GM, and they said, yep, we're going to bring in the Indiana Sentinels. Yes, very small arena, Delaware vibes. But the condition that Indiana agreed to is that they're going to have a new arena built within the next 3 years. 2,500 seat auditorium is already being planned. There's already plans in the works for that. So that's all of our changes that we had just within the last 3 weeks. Pretty insane, huh? So what's next? Let's move on over here to our little corner window. What's next for the Fed? All right. Well, the next thing that's going to happen is on May 21st, which is a Wednesday. The executive board will be meeting. They'll be talking about what they need to do next. Be talking about this stuff right here. And they'll also be discussing, well, do we need to make any rule changes or policy changes? Do we have to alter some things as far as how we do it? That'll all be discussed. All right. Now, I put a question mark here because I'm waiting for confirmation on this, and I will provide this later on. May 22nd, potentially the day for the expansion draft, 12 picks each for Indiana and Topeka. That was reported by the Republic newspaper in Columbus, Indiana. So that's kind of an outside source. So is that what's really happening? Well, we don't know for sure. Sounds good, but it may have been mentioned when Kiernan met with the Campbells and with Rosens, but I don't know. I mean, this comes from an external source, so I can't say for all surety that yes, that's the day of the expansion draft. Now, protected lists are going to be done by the end of this week for Carolina and Binghamton. So the two teams are going to know who's available to pick, as will the other three non-playoff teams: PD Iceman, the Mississippi Seawolves, and Monroe Moccasins. They're going to get 2 picks each. So there's 30 picks overall. Now, question that we have, and again, I'm waiting for an answer on this. What about Motor City's roster? They made the playoffs. So, and they had to formulate a protected list. So, is the Motor City Rockers roster available for these other teams, for the 5 teams? I don't know yet. It would make sense. That gives you 10 teams, 30 players. Each team loses 3 players. All right. Makes sense. Won't lose more than that. Otherwise, you only have 9 teams to pick from, and then it becomes a little bit of a quagmire. But anyway, so there we go. We'll also find out the order of how the teams are going to be picked, or picked from, and who picks first. I think because they were the first team, I think Topeka is going to get the first pick, and then Indiana, and then you'd probably have a couple picks by, the other 3 teams. But we'll find that out at a later time. All right, so to be discussed at the meeting on the 21st, the dispersal drafts for the Rockers and the Dashers. How is it done? When is it done? All that kind of stuff. The date, the order teams will pick, all that kind of stuff. Divisional realignment, and this is going to be one of the first videos I'm going to do in next weekend. Not this upcoming weekend, the following weekend. Talking about how do you line these teams now with the geographical placement of everyone. It's going to be interesting. The schedule matrix, that's got to be discussed because Motor City's out, Indiana's in. Might be different availability on dates. We're going to have to figure out what kind of impact that has on creating the schedule matrix. And I'm going to do a mock matrix once again. And finally, future expansion. We'll be talking about that on the Fed League Flash. So, but that could be discussed, and the release of the schedule. That's very important in getting that established. So that's what's up ahead. All right, I am changing the way I'm doing things this weekend, or upcoming for the summer. I'll have it posted on Facebook. So there we go. There is our video for today during the off season. We got 148 days to opening day, something like that. All right, thank you so much for watching, guys. Make sure you're hitting like and subscribe, and follow me on Facebook, follow me on the Flash Audio Network, all that good stuff. I'm Gary Ryan for the Fed League Flash. Have a good day.